When was the last time you really actually cried over a video game? Chances are they're likely to be from one specific genre, RPGs. With roots back to the 70s, the genre has always been an immersion into captivating worlds and stories. Here, let me show you. Cue the music. While games have sad or touching scenes, RPGs have carefully crafted soundtracks to pull you deeper and deeper into their universes.
She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
Let's dive into our favorite games and show you how powerful their soundtrack is as it tugs on our heartstrings.
The way to celebrate.
Raise your hand if you get chills when you hear this song. It's the track that plays the first time you ride the train, and it sets the stage and the tone for the entire game. Not only does Honkai Star Rail have an awesome battle system, but the story feels like it could be a movie, and the music makes it feel even more cinematic. Right when the story gets going, you hear this masterpiece.
Come with me, take the journey.
It's a call to adventure that's impossible to resist. Honkai Star Rail lets you pick the background music that plays when you're riding the train, but I don't know about you, I have all the feels with this track that frankly most games these days just don't give me. To the Moon might be the saddest game of all time. It tells a heart-wrenching story about a dying man that's always dreamed of visiting the moon. Two researchers travel through his memory in the hopes of fulfilling his final wish. Even if that description wasn't enough to make you tear up, you'll struggle to keep your eyes dry when you listen to the game's music. Sometimes a game's story and soundtrack feel totally separate, but in To the Moon, they're two halves of the same whole. Even now, when I hear a song from the soundtrack, I'll revisit that exact moment in the game and its feels that go along with it. The music wholly complements the game's story, and it makes sense, with the developer Gangao composing the score for his beloved game and series. The beauty of this soundtrack is that I find myself thinking of many things, not just gameplay, but also the things that happened in real life. The dreams you had, the unexpected accidents, and all moments of life I almost wish I could revisit, much like the story for this game. RPGs have been around for decades, and some of the most emotional songs come from the classics. The OCTOPATH Traveler series relives that golden era of classic JRPGs, music included. The throwback turn-based combat is addictive, the pixel graphics are gorgeous, and most importantly, the music is absolutely fantastic. All of the OCTOPATH Traveler games have a killer soundtrack, but Champions of the Continent is a hidden gem. Listening to the Champions of the Continent soundtrack is like taking a journey to the past. The music would fit right in with the best RPGs on the PlayStation 1. And it's hard to not feel nostalgic while it plays. With a series meant to recreate the feeling of the classic RPG, the entire soundtrack makes sense on how you get transported back to those days in the 90s, even when playing on your phone. Hold hands and take flight in an unforgettable social adventure together with loved ones. With a game description like that, playing Sky feels like getting swept up in a big hug. It lets you soar through the sky and explore a peaceful, breathtaking world, and the music augments that emotional feeling. The soundtrack is so soothing, and when the right track plays, it feels like you're about to catch up with an old friend. Listening to the soundtrack makes you feel like you've finally come over after a long journey. This game encourages you to make connections with other players, and the stunning soundtrack is the perfect backdrop for that. When a game has a soundtrack that sounds this good, you're gonna want to share that emotional connection with someone else. For those who play Genshin Impact, do you remember what it feels like to visit Sumeru for the first time? What about Surumi Island? Beyond the incredible gameplay, what makes the world of Genshin so full of life compared to other games is its soundtrack. When the Sumeru theme plays, it feels like you've been transported back to an ancient civilization filled with knowledge and wonder. The music even features classic folk instruments like the duduk and the santur. Listening to the soundtrack makes it feel like Sumeru is a real place you can actually visit, let alone experience emotional character arc scenes. Imagine these scenes without the soundtrack. Might not be as interesting. So the next time you play an RPG, make sure you notice that moment when you feel an emotional connection to the world and its characters. You might just notice the music was a part of that journey.